So I've seen this happening quite a bit lately. There's been a comeback of a game called Life is Feudal MMO. Now, if any of you don't know what Life is Feudal MMO is, well, it's had an interesting story. So this game came out back in 2018, and it was the MMO version of another title called Life is Feudal Your Own. It put you inside of this, well, medieval world, and you essentially had to go through this living and breathing world, building things, fighting, smithing, armoring, that sort of thing. Life is... And it was a lot of fun. There was a whole lot to it. And Your Own was quite a successful title. I remember just playing a lot of hours. That came out in 2015, by the way. And I mean, as you can see by the screenshots, it was a pretty good looking game. There's a lot of stuff like blacksmithing. You had this weird inventory system where everything, well, it just wasn't grid based. Everything was just scattered about, which is a little bit annoying. But you could do pretty much everything that you'd want to do in an open world MMO. And it was great. Clans would come apart and you'd do these battles. When the MMO came out, however, it decided the number one way to do this is just to scale up its size massively. And that was a big issue because when that happened, everybody had the same thing to say. It just isn't the one. You would spend hours and hours waiting for anything to happen. I mean, trees would take weeks of real life time to actually grow. Cutting down trees would take ages to do. If you were mining, it'd take hours to even just do some basic little ore collection. You had to make monuments in order to claim areas so other players couldn't take them from you. Collecting the herbs to do this would take on average about 6 or 7 hours. And it just went on and on like this. Life is Feudal MMO in its 21 by 21 kilometer world was pretty much a disaster. When it came out in 2018, it had a few updates, but then it was eventually shut down in 2021. Now, recently, a Russian company, I think, bought it back. I think they bought back the licenses for Life is Feudal MMO, and I think they are popping it back on Steam. Yes, it has just come back onto Steam now with a new developer, LTG. And now I don't know these guys. I don't really know what they've done before, but they have been sponsoring a lot of YouTubers. And I mean, it's fair enough, taking sponsors. I've done it before. I've even taken sponsors for stuff that I don't necessarily agree with and stuff that I probably wouldn't do again, because at the time, especially when you're a young channel, sometimes you just need it. Actually, oh my, the top creator for Life is Feudal MMO apparently is me, but none of the top videos are my videos. My top video is Life is Feudal is shut down forever. Here's why. That was when it eventually went down. But recently, Life is Feudal MMO videos have started popping up again. I mean, Pixelated Apollo's done a video on it as well. I think this was a sponsored video.
So much for stopping by. And I know lately there has been a pretty bad drought of medieval games. But today we're going to be talking about a new one that should help your medieval fix. Well, technically the game's not new. It's actually, it's making a...
Essentially, this video is just about the comeback of the Life is Feudal MMO. So what they're doing is they're now bringing it back as part of like a subscription model. You can get like a 7-day free trial, LTG Multiverse. I think it is, I mean, you can look at it free on Steam, but, oh God, I'm now downloading their launcher. I don't want to be doing that. But the Life is Feudal MMO, if you do it through their website, I think is on a subscription model. Yes, it's £12 a month, which is about $15, $16 a month, which is crazy. Since I actually played this when they first started bringing it back, when this company first bought it, because they approached me for a sponsored video at the time. And I played the game and they basically hadn't changed anything. Like, I was very much willing and down to do something with them because I really liked the idea for Life is Feudal. And actually, I was very hyped for it when it was first announced. But yeah, they didn't change anything. Nothing was actually done with it. And of course, there's bug fixes. They're doing some stuff on server side. But in terms of like actual content, that's the main issue. The problem with Life is Feudal MMO is the absolute grind, taking years and years to do anything. I mean, you can even see by the comments on Pixelated Apollo's video. I'm not paying monthly to have another job. If I wanted another job, I'd have one. If this was free, it'd be fine, but I'll pass. And I think that's the main issue with this. Oh, actually, here's my video here, the huge Life is Feudal MMO disaster. This is me talking about them bringing it back as well. And the problem with the game is it is just a second job. There is no real fun gameplay to be had within Life is Feudal, so it baffles me why they decided to bring it back. I don't know. Has anyone even played this like properly? Because I've seen all of these videos and I've like looked into them a little bit, and Yeah, they've sponsored a load of tiny creators.
One of the biggest genres in gaming to reach its stride within the last decade or so is the survival genre. Minecraft is probably the shining mechanics its world in the harsh actor like.
So yeah, look, he's got a link in the description. So this one is sponsored as well. By the way, I'm not having to go at any of these YouTubers, whatever. Like, it's absolutely fine. Like, I will do sponsored videos all the time because it's kind of a no-brainer. If anybody doesn't know how sponsored videos work, one video can pay for a whole month's worth of ad revenue. And it's like that kind of decision, especially when you're not a huge YouTuber and you're trying to make it full time, like it is a very tempting thing to do. But I think it's interesting. And this is mostly me talking about the game, by the way, not any of the YouTubers. I think it's interesting how most of these videos are just the first introduction of Life is Feudal MMO. And they don't get to any of like the actual building or battles. The only bits that they show from the Steam relaunch is trailer stuff. Yeah, I mean, King Louis is probably one of the furthest one that he's gotten, and he's basically just being attacked by someone else. And that's about it. He's got a shovel, and I mean, that's a couple hours of gameplay. But the thing is, I don't blame them. Like, it takes 10 hours to get your first bit of clothing, let alone armor. To get like full plate armor like they advertise in this game, it will take maybe 20, 30 hours unless you have a massive team of people. It takes absolutely ages to do anything. It is just a horrifically grindy game, and probably one of the most grindy games ever. If we look at Pixelated Apollo's video, he does the first little intro bit, he does a bit of fishing, he does a bit of tracking, and that's about it. Any of the stuff that he shows from, well, this armor stuff, this is all trailer stuff, so this isn't actually him that he's been playing, because for someone to make a sponsored video and get that far, they'd have to be playing for hours and hours and hours, and it just isn't possible. If I were you, I'd be a bit more cautious with this. I'm going to wait a little longer, see what happens. I don't think they're going to bring anything worth it. I mean, the only way that I would ever play Life is Feudal MMO again is if they just cut down all of the grind, all of the horrific hours and hours long of work, and making a second job out of what's supposed to be a fun medieval open world game, because it could be great. There was a mod in Mount & Blade Warband called Persistent World, and it was this open world where you could be a serf, you could be a miner, you could be a baker, all that stuff. I mean, Asmon Gold made a video on Persistent Empires, which is the Bannerlord version of this mod. And you could have these huge clan battles, all of them wearing armor that's been crafted by armorers and smiths, are being got from the mines by miners, all this massive economy by real players. And Life is Feudal was supposed to be the standalone version of that, but they just went way too far. I remember when I was trying to get clans together at the time, I'd want people to meet up, but they'd have to spend 4 hours walking across the map. So eventually we just gave up. I don't know why they're bringing back. I think it's probably one of the worst choices for them to buy this franchise or this IP. I mean, the guys that sold it to them, I guess, good for you, you got a little bit of extra money. But the guys that bought it, not the best decision of your life. Really, not the best decision of your life.